MG Motors, and Byrak. Let's now move on to another session that is going to be very crucial for anybody who already is in the field of entrepreneurship or somebody who's looking for some lessons to scale up their startups or their ventures as well. So what are the kind of factors that make a brand, that make a startup? What are the factors that make them stand out vis-a-vis the others? Efficiency, decision making, agility, just some of the factors that we will have discussed over our next panel over the course of next 30 minutes. I would now like to invite on stage Mona Gandhi, who will be chairing this session, founder of Upraised, Lalit Agarwal, founder and MD, VMart Retail, Sanket Diodar, VP and Head Digital Natives, SAP India Subcontinent, Dinesh Gulati, COO India Mart Intermesh, and Chakradhar Gade, co-founder and CEO Country Delight. I hope I got all the names. Could we have our esteemed guests and panelists on stage, please?
Thank you, Ridhima. Hi, guys. We're going to try to make this quite critical topic, sometimes boring. We'll try to make it fun. We know we are between you and your lunch, so we'll try to keep it crisp as well. My name is Mona. I'm the founder at Upraised. Upraised is an upskilling platform that helps people make career transitions. I'm going to take the next couple of minutes if you guys can just introduce yourself. And then the topic for the conversation is going to be talking about scaling challenges. How do we do them better, learn from their lived experiences so you don't have to make the same mistakes. And hopefully you can take something away that you can start implementing tomorrow. That's our goal. We'll try to share these insights with experiences and stories so they're more relatable. And let's get started.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lalit Agarwal. I'm the managing director for a company called VMart Retail. We operate retail stores, offline retail stores across India. We've got 450 outlets across 25 states and 290 cities. We started 20 years back, so the journey has been long. It started when there was no organized retail in India, almost negligible organized retail in India, and especially in value retail, there was very, very few. So a lot of learning, definitely a lot of market making, a lot of learning. We'll cover that further. But yeah, we operate 3 brands right now. We have a brand called Unlimited, which we operate in southern India, which we acquired 3 years back. And we also operate an online marketplace platform called limeroad.com, which we acquired 1.5 years back. So that's how we are placed. We've got more than 10,000 people working, and we are a listed entity now. We did have private equity, and then now we are listed for almost a decade now.
Wow.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dinesh Gulati. I represent India Mart. We are India's largest B2B online platform. We call ourselves a business discovery or the largest conversation commerce platform. Having said that, we have close to around 8 million suppliers and almost 180 million, 18 crore registered buyers on the platform. So that makes us really one of the largest GDP contributor of India. The whole motto in this entire journey for almost more than 2.5 decades that we have covered so far, the main vision is how do we make doing business easy for businesses, and that remains the motto, and we are still in progress and look forward to having a wonderful session here. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be part of this panel. I represent an organization called SAP. In India, we are almost 15,000 strong people organization. And many of you know SAP as an ERP company. Our motto, which is what we are trying to do in the startup ecosystem in India, is largely to improve people's life and make the world run better. And that is what is the theme and mission that we are applying to the startups now, and building this ecosystem, contributing to this vibrant ecosystem of India in whichever form, capacity, shape that we can support it. And that's how I've been there with SAP for last 12 years. And now for the last 3 years, building this ecosystem, supporting startups and working with startups. On the way, learning a lot for their challenges and bringing those learnings into the enterprise world also. So that's the story behind me. Yeah.
Awesome. As you guys can tell, there is a lot of experience in this panel and across lots of years. So the goal is to short circuit your learning journey. Uh, every company goes through 3 critical phases of growth and scaling. Starts typically from the 0 to 1 journey. There are different types of challenges there. Then there's the 1 to 10 journey where you have established some sense of product market fit and want to scale. And then you really become sizable and meaningful and go from 10 to 100. So for the rest of the conversation, we'll kind of divide this into 3 parts. We'll quickly talk a little bit about, as you heard, they've all been at solving this problem for years and decades. So we're going to tap into that knowledge. We'll talk a little bit about, what were some of your insights, challenges, and ways to resolve challenges around scaling, around establishing product market fit, ideating, bringing legs to your idea in the 0 to 1 journey. What did you experience? For the folks that are just starting now, what can they do better from your experiences? If you can share a little bit about insights on that 0 to 1 journey, I would love to learn.
Yeah, Mona, so I come from a very humble background. My father was a tailor shop, and he operated a small tailor shop in a small town in Odisha. And that's where my journey starts from. I was a child, I was a kid, and I used to have fun time in my father's shop. And I quite started interacted with the interaction with the customers right when I was 12-year-old kid. And that was fun, but yeah, that's something which remained in me. I definitely took a punt in trying to do multiple things while I was in the college. But I came back to the retail and I really saw some gap in the market, which was where the large part of Bharat and India, where that huge population who are under a certain income group have very high aspirations, enjoy their festivals, enjoy their marriages, have lot of charm for looking good, but there was not too many places where they could really shop for fundamental value products, which is the right value at a right product with the right ambience. So that was the gap that I was seeing in the market, and that's the strategy that we tried to figure out, that how do you do it. And because of my father's background and me staying there in my tailor shop, I always knew that what was the cost of building a pant and a shirt and apparel. And then that's where I realized that the cost of building a product was not too high. The quality and the brand which it makes turns up is the care that you take on that product. So how much care do you put? Because ultimately these are all come from those basic cotton which grows over trees, and then how do you convert that cotton into a good finished product is something which you bring in as expertise, as a know-how. And how do you bring in that element of care within your vendors ecosystem, your employee ecosystem, and try and provide that to the customer with a value which is much more affordable to the larger part of India. And that's where the whole mindset grew. Definitely there were huge challenges because these are the customers who don't buy very often. They buy only 2 times a year. They want a great fashion product. They want a get quality product, and they want a product which is affordable because they don't have money, so they want it within their pocket size. So I think the challenge was trying to fit everything 3 into that particular piece where you need quality, because वो दो kapde leta hai wardrobe mein, he doesn't have too many clothes, so they wash it more number of times, they use it more number of times, and they want that product to be good after they come back after 9 months to shop another time. So it has to be a very, very good product, and that's the whole challenge that we had. And that's where you bring in those strategies and efficiency piece, which is how do you become efficient in trying to convert the product, the raw material, into a finished product up to the store level, and in the whole intermediary chain, how do you bring efficiency across intervals and across the chain and have that communication so that whatever product that you are able to finalize and design and produce are all sold off. Not that you have a gap and you create an inefficiency by not selling off certain products, because ultimately all the inefficiencies get loaded on the product. So that's how you have to create that efficiency, have the right strategy, target the right audience, and then definitely collaborate within the teams so that we are able to do. So there were multiple challenges when we were small, right from acquiring a good resource, to acquiring, getting a good property in the store, for the store, or having the law and order situations in the market, or having a great vendors, because even the vendor ecosystem is so unorganized in India, was so organized in India, that no vendor wanted to get into a process, get into a model. लोग कच्चे का काम करते हैं, कैश में काम करते हैं. They don't want to work on bills and checks and GSTs and sales tax. So there were multiple challenges when you are small and when the market is small. And how do you bring that market onto your speed, onto your type, and how do you bring your team onto that time, bring yourself also on that type? Because you as a businessman, as an owner, when you start a store, you look very small and you start becoming greedy on certain areas. You become efficient, but you also start becoming greedy, which then cap your growth. And that's where your growth doesn't get uncovered. And how do you then bring a change internally inside you, and so that you are able to uncover your mindset, so that you are able to allow growth to come in, have people, have processes, have multiple technology systems, so that you bring in. So the challenges were many, and we definitely were the luckier ones to implement an ERP right at the day one, implement a data-driven strategy model right at the day one. So some of those things which has helped the organization to grow massively during those years is something that we did.
Yeah, quite fascinating. The word greedy is the right word.
Yeah, so very interesting, exciting, Lalit. So I'll try to summarize in few keywords what Lalit mentioned and then what we have been doing. So in 0 to 1 stage, assuming that you have identified the problem you are solving, I think keep focus on the product and service that you are delivering. And keep that in mind that you are not madly in love with the first product you design. See, the entire journey of 0 to 1 is very, very experimental. You design a product, it may or may not succeed. You go back, you do a lot of experiments and go back with the new design of products to offer to your customers. So one thing, don't try to be madly in love with the first product that you design. Secondly, don't try to design Ferrari on day one. Try to start with a bicycle. Bicycle will definitely take you to destination in 0 to 1 stage, right? Normally I have seen startups, no, I will perfect the product and then I will take it to the market. And then by then there'll be somebody else who will be, replacing you in that market. So be experimental, be very, very iterative in that 0 to 1 journey. So I'll give you India Mart example. Today we may claim that we have such a large platform. We started almost 25 years back as a platform which was export-oriented platform, and we used to publish exporters' directories. And we would take those directories to various trade fairs across the globe. And in those trade fairs, we will only distribute those directories, like yellow pages of that time, only exporters, with the hope that these foreign buyers will call those suppliers in India, or in the process, we were also talking about India Mart, this traffic will get routed through India Mart. And you know how that traffic would get routed in those years? We would get fax from foreign buyers on India Mart fax number, and we will post those inquiries, that red letterbox that you would have seen. We would post those inquiries through letterbox, through snail mail, to various suppliers in markets like Aligarh, Moradabad, Agra, Jaipur. So that was the genesis of India Mart. But we never stopped there. So the product was always iterative. And that's what makes so much difference, all the subsequent journeys that we have covered. So I think 2-3 things in 0 to 1 stage. Design a product which is functional, not a Ferrari. Keep your process very, very iterative. Keep learning, keep redesigning, keep offering revised solutions. Third, which is very, very critical in 0 to 1 stage, don't close your eyes on finances and funding. You may not be raising the funds at that point in time, but you need to be extremely careful how much money you have in bank and how long will that funds or money will take you through your journey in subsequent months to come. So I think these are 3-4 things that one needs to keep in mind while looking at 0 to 1 journey.
Wow, I think it's simply amazing stories out here. Uh, our journey has been a little different when we talk about 0 to 1, right? When you have a concept, when you have a product, when you have an idea, when you have spotted that opportunity, I will take 2 examples which tell you how SAP supports that idea and how does it help to scale it. One very important example, which is very near and dear, is the partnership that we have done with Sensa Next. It is an offshoot of Waycool, which is an agri-tech company. And when they had an idea that they have created such beautiful assets on SAP, which they use for their supply chain, for their financial accounting and all of it, they wanted to take that story and that stack to others in the agri-tech sector. And that is not only limiting it to India, but to Europe and to Middle East. And that's where SAP came in, where we created a model, create a partnership, and told them that this idea can germinate and can scale with our support. And we created that model, we offered our technology to them, and now they have started building that story, that stack, and offering that to their customers in Middle East and all. Second example, which is very close and starts to where the foundational work SAP can help in the 0 to 1 stage, is that one of our largest two-wheeler electric manufacturer today in India, I had the privilege to meet them when they were thinking about this idea. That they want to manufacture these two-wheelers. They wanted to set up a battery plant. They wanted to start with two-wheelers as a strategy. And when the concept was there on the drawing board, and they have not even finalized a place for the factory, they have not started the work of the factory, they started their journey with SAP, where they felt that my scale is going to be so huge in the next 12 to 18 months because I need to launch a product in next 12 months. I need to have something that I can rely on where the efficiencies are there from day one. And I can bring my suppliers, my employees on board to support this ecosystem and get them motivated onto it. So that journey started before the factory foundation started. So I think there are various aspects of it. It all depends on what's the vision, what's the journey, and where a company like SAP can participate and help in that journey.
Yeah, that's very fascinating because I think one thing that I want to just I kind of learned from the conversation here is in the early stages, it's mostly about getting the idea and validating your idea, being iterative about it, being open-minded. And I think validation requires both distribution as well as traction. That gives you the biggest validation. And depending on your idea, getting that distribution validation can come from anywhere. It can come from partnerships. It can come from, innovative sort of focusing on very few markets, one product, just one target audience. So yeah, I think a lot of people skip this point around partnerships. They skip this point around, like you said, getting married to the idea or the solution so much that you kind of can't see what the gaps are. But once you get to product market fit, let's say you get to the 10 journey, which very few fortunate companies are able to. Most companies actually die in the 1 to 10 journey. How do you scale from, what shift is required from an organization perspective in terms of agility, in terms of efficiency, structuring your organization? When you think about the 1 to 10 journey and the 10 to 100 journey, I think they're very different games to play. And like I said, most companies die in the 0 to 1 because of the challenges you guys laid out. But let's say few of us are lucky to get there. What do we do?
So definitely, I mean, there has been this stages, and I would not say 1 to 100 and 1 to 10 and 10 to 100, and then maybe 100 to 1000 is also a journey that one needs to cover. But anyway, because
The lucky few here have gone through that journey, but most of us don't.
no, that's the way forward, and that's how India is, preparing itself, and that's
Absolutely.
how entrepreneurs in India has to get prepared for themselves, because that's what really India holds, and that's what
आपके
the
मुंह
world-
में गुड़
Ghee
शक्कर
shakkar,
जो
yes,
सब भी डाल
yes, definitely. So yeah, I remember around 2003 is when we incorporated the organization, but 2007 and 8 is when we started feeling that we are there with like 39 stores, 40 stores. Now how do we move forward? We need cash. We need more management bandwidth. We need some people. And then I was trying to go for loan, and bankers were not, kind of very interested in giving you loans. And then you took some loan, you grew, but definitely someone gave me the idea that why don't you have a partner? Why don't you have a private equity? And then that's the time you latched on to you interacted with the private equity. You came across a good private equity. Maybe only the one private equity that you met showed some kind of interest. And how do you bring in an agility to counter whatever they have, to give the answers and to adopt and give them a solution so that they are there for you, standing there for you. So I think there was a lot of things which happened. People can get into those mindset ki yaar meri value to itni hai. This is my model. I don't want to dilute at this point of time. If I dilute, what happens? Will they take over my business? Will they take over my company? So all of those mindset comes in, but ultimately you need to be more informed. And this was not this world which you are right now living, because this is a seasoned private equity world where people are used to and people look forward to private equity. But yeah, at that point of time, it was a little different kind of model where people had a fear and people had a mindset. And in those mindset, when you get private equity, the private equity would also fear, because they would also bring in a lot of clauses where you would have those rights which are compromising. There are areas where you may have to buy back after 5 years. But at the end of the day, if you believe in your model, and the belief was so great, if you believe in your model, if you believe in your future growth, if you believe that whatever that they are asking can be handled and can be done, I think it's more about the agility of decision making. It's more about the the Josh, the Hawa, the Bulandi of the entrepreneur, which then comes into work, and that's where you have to act and then go ahead. मतलब वो आप उस समय lawyer ले लो, lawyer आपको they'll give you so much of new things that they will not allow you to take those decisions very fast, because you are a very small entity, and the other guy, the private equity guy, would be a bigger one. For in our case, it was a Aditya Birla private equity. They were the conglomerates, and then they will always come with their own model. They'll always come with their own benefits and their own risk aversion matrices, and that's what you have to adopt. But if you take in too many lawyers' advice and get drained into that, you may fail. You have to just have a belief that the private equity guys have no business in running the business. They have a business in getting financials out of their business. So that's how you need to have a belief system that your growth brings in their growth and their exit. And that's how the model is structured. And if you have that belief, you just go ahead and take an agile decision and then work on it. So that's one part on the finance, and then that's how you build on the structuring part, the team, the organization structure, the way you create the processes in the organization and policies in the organization where the entire ecosystem gets benefited. Because ultimately you need to ensure that whatever you here are is just not an outcome of your own or your own team, but it is also the entire ecosystem, which includes the vendor base, which includes the landowners of the property, which includes the customers, which includes the community and your employee who are there to work with you. So how do you create value for the entire ecosystem? How do you make them feel proud that they are interacting with you? So some of those clear mindset, clear vision, clear value system, which has to be communicated, which has to be brought into this team. And that's where the start of those pieces start building the culture of the organization. And that's how you start building the foundation of getting into the 100 mode. And that's where I think a lot of work we brought in, which was more strategic, which was more collaboration, and definitely agility was there, because as an entrepreneur brings in the best agility. But when you have team under you, the way you train your team, the way you set up the processes and SLAs or KRAs, and that's how you start building those agility in the team entire itself.
I agree. I agree.
I think I've.
Mona,
Yes.
so we should have had more than half an hour.
I know. We
Looking
can
at
keep going.
the topic that we have and the speakers that we have, we needed more than half an hour. But quickly, let me just share my point of view. So after if you've done your 0 to 1 journey where product market fitment and all blah, blah, blah has happened, 1 to 10 journey is the trickiest one. Let's understand. People assume that it is 0 to 1 or 10 to 100. But 1 to 10 is the trickiest of the journey. After having product traction build up, you are expected to assume speed. You need to scale up on market, sales, revenue. For that to manage, you need to have people, you need to acquire talent. You need to continuously evolve your product, because now you are acquiring more customers. And on top of it, you don't have enough money in your coffers to manage this entire gamut of activities that you are supposed to do. So you are actually doing multiple activities, with very little backup in your hand. So 1 to 10 journey, you need to be very, very careful. So identify the markets that you want to go. Don't go abruptly all across India. No, India is a continent. Identify the geographies which you want to pilot. Set up channels, sales teams, which you believe are going to work for your product or service. Every channel is not working for everybody. Third, start building talent. And here I would like to, share my own experience. Be mad about the quality of talent you acquire. Don't chase experience. Experience is overrated. Please, experience is overrated. We need, yeah. So both of us are gray-haired here. So Lalit is looking at me, and then, but that's the fact, right? We need to be getting the right talent who can take us to next level, and continue to invest on product side. That's very, very critical.
I'll just add here, maybe the right attitude is more important.
Yeah, so I was coming to that. So having that, you need to be very, very clear that how are you going to balance this whole piece? So your own commitment, your own agility. See, agility doesn't come by simply lip service. Agility comes from the leadership commitment to what you want to drive. And your actions have to speak louder than what your actually entire business is talking about. So very, very clear. So this 1 to 10 journey, you will be acting like a juggler, managing multiple portfolios, multiple KPIs, and still putting full feet on your accelerator, so that what ultimately you need to raise money, whether it happens through whichever channel. And the first thing they will ask, growth aa rahi hai aapki? Business kitna profitable hai? They don't understand that you are in 1:10 journey. That's for you to manage. Right? So I think you need to identify 4 or 5 areas. Don't try to do everything on your own. Try to partner, collaborate, outsource, use marketplaces. Do things which will make your weight lighter and will allow you to focus on 3, 4 core areas to build on.
Guys,
Thank
this
you.
is very important. I am in the 1 to 10 journey, and I have made some of these mistakes. You guys should definitely take note, as I am taking. It's very easy to try to feel like you can do it all, but you can't. And I think my biggest realization in this journey has been, my ultimate success metric is how irrelevant can I become to the organization, so I can think about the next step. Because if I am only thinking about today, nobody is thinking about tomorrow. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and the thing is, if I'm only thinking about today, I'm only able to think about today because nobody else do everything that I'm doing, and that's where the people, the skilling, the agility, the leadership breakdown comes in, and empowering people cannot be lip service, right?
Yeah, so one thing more. So 1:10 is the window where you can still pivot and change your business model.
That's
So
right.
if your business, the product, service is not working, this is the time you can pivot and change the complete model. So again, giving India Mart example, 2008-9 global meltdown happened. We were running large global marketplace, generating 50% cash margin business, and one fine day, we decided that we have to shut down this business and start all over again to create a domestic Indian marketplace. But we thank that we took that decision in 2008-9. It was a lot of greed. So 50% cash margin business. Who's going to close down that 50% cash margin business? But that's where the vision, I think founders or promoters or entrepreneurs, conviction about the decision that you're taking is going to take you to the long-term destination. So don't just get stuck with the model that you're running. Be open to changes. This is the last stage when you can change. And we have multiple examples,
right.
whether it is Flipkart, Amazon, they changed very late, in 1 to 10 stage only.
No, I think it's very interesting, right? You saw a different conversation from 0 to 1, 1 to 10, right? 1 to 10 is the time when, as an organization, as an entrepreneur, you are looking at the organization level, looking at KPIs. You are talking about SLAs. You are talking about setting up process so that the standards of your customer experience, supplier experience, employee experience are maintained. and the vision that you have translates on ground with extended people and the ecosystem. And that's where SAP comes in, because something that you can measure can be monitored. And that's where if all that data gets enabled digitally, has some sort of a robustness of building best practices that most of the stalwarts of the industries have used. I think that is the best practices we bring in, which is necessary at this foundational work, because I need to simulate, I need to enable the customers to simulate different business model, have a granular outlook of how my burn rates are helping me to get more customers, or what is the path to profitability in some of these business models. So that can happen only when you have that data, and there can be analysis and paralysis of that data, right? So I think that is where the first 1 to 10 piece comes in. And I will quickly take the the next journey part of it in very simple terms.
Our time's already up, guys.
Absolutely. So, and once you do that, then I think the 10 to 100 piece is all about getting the 5 important pillars together, which is your customer, your suppliers, your employees, your GTM, your product together into it, and have a single 360-degree view of your business. Because if you don't have that, then you don't know how you will expand in geographies, how you will bring in different business models into it, how do you manage the regulatory environment, which is very dynamic in today's world, and very challenging also. And if you want to expand, how do you have that clarity that if I have a product which takes care of the taxation, takes care of the regulatory compliances, legal compliances, and bring in that adherence that is required, then I can focus on the business and the model of my business. Rest, everything can be taken care of. And that's where SAP comes in that 1 to 10 and 10 to 100 journey, essentially.
So we'll go reverse this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Sanket, the 5 pillars that you mentioned, 10 to 100 journey starts from now that you are in a growth phase, would you like to expand? So what are the markets you would like to go? And I'm sure we all understand India has a very different and varied demographics. So one product doesn't fit the entire universe that you want to address. So you would like to look at which are the product segments that you would like to work with. What are the pricing strategies that you would like to operate? So this is the time when various strategies will start working, which will call for segment-specific approach. So you are working in tier 1 market, tier 2 market, tier 3 market. You are working for age group of 16 or 60, depending on which SEC, A, B, C you are handling. So we'll ask for different solutioning in terms of channel, in terms of pricing. Second, this is the time when you are looking at evolving your tech play to a very different level. See, so far it was maybe, very basic tech play. Now that you are expanding, your organization is expanding, you need various data protected systems, you need various other, IT-related tools which are going to help you expand, create efficiencies in the system. So you will have to leverage technology, and then you start identifying who's going to manage this whole piece, market, communication, technology. So that's where it comes that you need to have an organization structure now. And not only talent, 10 to 100 journey needs building leadership team now. So otherwise,
Right.
you cannot be managing everything on your own. So you need to look at from talent acquisition, talent management to leadership building now in this journey. And last, and then very, very critical, who is going to be managing the fund? From where the funds are going to come, you need to set up financial processes in the system, which will help you to create efficiencies, controls, and various compliances that you would need in this stage of the business. So these are the few things that you would like to work on while you are completing 10 to 100 journey.
Dinesh has covered almost everything. So, no, I think very, very valid points. And definitely, as you were speaking about customer tier, so I think customer is a very, very important piece. Knowing your customer, understanding the behavior of your customer, understanding, and I'm talking about the final customer. I may not be talking about the intermediary customer, but you need to always focus on the final customer. And final customer is very important. And India is such a diverse country. You have such huge diversity in terms of language, taste, preferences, the way they consume, the way they got educated, the festival times and the seasonalities. There are multiple such differences, and that's where when you grow to 100, you have those complexity of managing diversity. How do you bring out opportunity from those diversity? How do you become unique to India? And that's where business is all about. In India, if you are getting onto 100 and if you are getting to that ecosystem, you need to bring in a algo-based, your technology, your mind should be given that down to the algorithms, and those algorithms has to be smart enough, to dynamic enough to keep tweaking, keep changing, and actually identifying the right customer set with the right product type, with the right way of presentation, and how do you integrate that with people. So I think there are those fundamental areas which has to be scalable model. It cannot be just doing it manually on top of few people or people-based decision making. So these are something that is very, very important. Then definitely from my journey from 10 to 100, once again, we went public. It was once again a decision making which we did. And then going to public is more about demonstrating a clear governance, and governance is so important. So I think for large part of ecosystem, we actually sometimes take governance for toss, and then sometimes take governance very lightly, and that cannot be taken casually, because if you need to really go top, go big, and get onto the bigger mutual funds, get onto the bigger FIIs of the world, and get onto the global markets of fundings and financing or stock market, you have to be governance oriented, you have to be ESG oriented, you have to understand what all the business demands. Your authenticity has to also come up, because it just cannot be a story that you want to build. It is a story that comes out, and a story which can be told and repeated, and can be people can have an expectation out of you which you don't fail. So I think a lot of those parts are also a very, very important part of getting onto those 100, because the world is so wide, tons of money around, big money, big capital waiting for all of them to get invested, because they don't earn too much of return. So they want to invest in our businesses. They are looking forward to it. It is only about the entrepreneurs like us who can then stand there, solidified with a business plan, but more about your own management, your organizational, your value system, your culture, your scalability platforms, and your own view on how are you demonstrating all of those. So I think these are very, very important pillar, which is very, very important. And there are multiple other things that one has to take care, whether it is employee happiness piece, which you have to take care now. You have to become a brand employer. You have to actually get onto that position where you attract talent, and the point on leadership is so important. And in leadership is the bigger point that I was saying in the 0 to 1 journey, 0 to 10 journey, was also that greediness, which then turns into the entrepreneur becomes the bottleneck. They start becoming the bottleneck, because as you were saying, because we come in the middle of everything. We take decisions, and people don't take decisions because we are there. So how do you empower them? How do you fail? How do you make them fail also in certain decisions, and let them learn from their own decision making? Because unless and until you step in, if you step in at that time, they will never learn, and they will never take decisions going forward. So there are few things that we have to take all of this in mind.
Yes, this is the fastest 30-minute crash course on how you can build really meaningful businesses, guys. I hope you guys got something that you can take and do something about, and it was actionable. It was too short a time. I think we can keep going for hours, but we know we are between you and lunch. So have a good lunch, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for our co-panelist. I got to learn a lot. I actually also had a 30-minute conversation backstage. I have so many notes with me, but they're around if you guys have any questions.
So we are going to be around. So
yeah,
we
please.
can break for lunch if you want. We are here. We can take questions now. Otherwise, we are going to be around, and we can have one-on-one conversation on various questions.
Yeah.
They're standing there. They will not
I
allow
think
any
we'll
questions.
take the questions offline. We'll have to break for lunch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
So
I have
we'll
to be
catch
the bad
up.
person.
So
Yes.
anybody.
But our panelists are around, so they would love to take your questions. You could catch them.
Guys, don't miss this opportunity to catch them. It's very hard to find them. Yes.
Mona, thank you so
Thanks.
much for being a fantastic moderator. Apologies, we'll also have to stick to the agenda so the rest of the sessions are not delayed. Could we have a huge round of applause for our panelists? A small token of appreciation from Geetika Dayal. Lovely gift hampers by our gift partner, Naturic, to all our panelists. Thank you to all our panelists. We now break for lunch. Unfortunately, the lunch time has been shortened, so we reconvene at 2:30. I'll repeat, we reconvene at 2:30. We'll begin our next session 2:30 sharp, so we'll request all of you to be seated before that.